What's up, everyone, and welcome back. Today is transmission time. So we've got a Turbo 400 for our absolutely beautiful 1984 Ford LTD Police Edition. Just got to throw that in there, because Police Edition is so much better than the regular stuff. But anyways, today we're going to be building our Turbo 400 for this unit. We have a PTC converter, stage 3 rebuild kit. We have the ATD transmissions, cast iron trans brake. Some people may know it as a Hipsters trans brake. And what else do we have? We have a low car anchor dipstick. And most of this stuff I've bought used, so this is kind of considered a budget deal, I didn't buy I think the only thing I didn't buy used was the trans brake and the rebuild kit. I got like a stage 3 master rebuild kit. I'm not a master rebuilder, but I'm going to put that master rebuild kit in the transmission, and hopefully it'll run like a master transmission rebuilder rebuilt it. So we've got to get the transmission out of, I think I got it shoved in an old car over across the pond. We got to get it out of that, bring it up here, get it pressure washed, tore down, inspected. Probably spend a lot of money on extra parts that I didn't account that I was going to have to spend money on. But hey, that's fine. We'll still be within budget because, it's our budget. We're making it up as we go. But back to what we got, I have a PTC 9.5 inch converter. These things are like $1,400 new. They're rated for over 2,000 horsepower. But I got this one. I bought it from a guy off Marketplace for $800, and that's with shipping. The dude gave me a heck of a deal. And I bought the low car anchor dipstick off eBay for I can't remember what I gave for it. It was like half price, a brand new unit, open box. So one of those, you just couldn't beat it. You know what I'm saying? I had to jump on it. I just want to see what it's like to have a flexible dipstick that you can actually feel the transmission through, and it not take you till next summer or longer than it took you to build the transmission. And I'm talking smack on the eBay units and the Amazon flexible dipsticks. They're terrible. Don't buy them unless you've got like all the time in the world. But anyways, enough rambling. So like I said, we're gonna get this unit pulled out of the old junk car across the pond, brought up here, pressure washed, tore down. We'll go over, I'm gonna try to do my best professional install of this Hipsters / ATD cast iron trans brake. So y'all just hang with me and we'll get into it. Pretty rough, guys. So I had this unit gave to me, pretty sure if I remember correctly. I'm starting to see why it has like 2 transmission pan bolts in it, and I think I dumped easily 2 quarts of water out of it, but it was mixed with transmission fluid, so we're all good there. It's gonna be new when we're done, so just hang in there. Y'all can make fun of my fancy spring compressor all you want to, but it worked. And I did order one off eBay for like $35 to put this thing back together with, because it goes back with real heavy duty springs. And next I just drill this hole, this 1/16 hole out in the drum, and then kind of get back into it. Okay, the first step of installing this trans brake is you're going to want to remove your direct drum and disassemble it. This is actually a 4L ATD drum with a early model Turbo 400 cast piston. Yours is more likely going to be a stamped steel piston, and the drums look the same. This is a 4L ATD drum, but there should be zero difference other than the sprag that's on the other side. This one uses a sprag, a 34 element sprag. The factory Turbo 400 drum uses a roller style clutch. The 4L ATD is a much better upgrade, and I'll try to, you can do a quick search of the differences. There's lots of differences out there, but you have more. Let me just flip it over to show you. You have much more surface area. See, this spins clockwise and will not spin counterclockwise. You have much more surface area in this sprag assembly here than you do on the Turbo 400. But back to what we do first is we want to drill a 1/16 hole in the corner of this drum. And you want to drill it at a 45, best you can at an angle, but you have to keep in mind your drill chuck will hit this right here, this boss in the middle, if you're not careful. So just, kind of judge that when you start drilling. And another piece of advice is, do not use a cheap drill bit. You're gonna have to buy a good quality 1/16 drill bit, whether you have to order just a single drill bit or what. From my past experience, I've tried the Harbor Freight ones, and not knocking Harbor Freight, just using it as an example. They will not cut this material, and if they do, a lot of times you have to use extreme amount of force and they break. I'm sure other people's been successful with it, but if you just, in my opinion, you want a good quality drill bit. But then after you get that drilled, you want to, the trans brake comes with 16 springs, return springs. More than likely when you pulled it out, you only had 14. There would be two that opposing, adjacent of each other, that were not installed. So what we're going to do is we're going to reinstall all this stuff. I've got new clutches. We'll check our clutch pack clearance. The Hipsters ATD trans. I keep calling it Hipsters because I'm just used to reading the forums. But the ATD trans brake instructions call for 50 to 70 thousandths. Factory clearance is usually 20 to 50. So I mean, I'm just shooting for 50 is what I'm going to shoot for. If I'm 40, I'll leave it there. But this is what we've got to do next. We'll get this assembled and we'll. Okay, so we're at step number 2 of the instructions, and the instructions just say replace PR spring with Hipsters spring. Okay, your pressure regulator assembly is located in the bottom of your pump. It is an assembly that goes right here. It consists of a valve, a spring, a boost sleeve, and then a boost valve. This is your boost sleeve. Your boost valve is inside there. Here's your factory spring. Here's your factory regulator valve. Here's the Hipster spring. If you look, it's shorter, but it is much stronger. And here's an important part that could be easily missed. It says in the instructions, use no horseshoe shims. Okay, your horseshoe shim is going to be behind your spring backing plate on your valve. Let me pull it off. If you can see it right there. It is what's real. There we go, right there. You'll want to remove this, because here's the issue. What if you forget to do that and you leave it on? You're going to increase the spring pressure, which will then increase the line pressure. This kit's not designed for that. It is designed to not use any horseshoe shims. So we'll get all this installed, and then we'll move on to our next step. All right, so our next step in doing this trans brake is going to be, we have to take one of our factory check balls We have to, there's a passageway right here. Can't really see it from your angle, but it's there. We have to beat this check ball in it with a punch. You do not have to do this with some of the reed cases, and it does say that in the instructions. Never done this before, by the way. Oh, it's going right in there. What do you know? All the other trans brakes I've installed, they just tell you to take the seals off the third gear accumulator. This one, you remove the accumulator completely and you hammer this check ball in. All right. So that's a little less than flush, and I'm gonna call that good just because I don't really, it's not coming out. It'll take an extreme amount of pressure to get it out, and I don't want to damage the case right here or anything. So now that the check ball is beating the low/reverse servo, the little passage right down here, it's time to modify the modulator valve as shown below. Check it out. But anyways, so what we've got to do is this right here, this first little valve, this first spool on the spool valve, if you must, has to be ground down flat with the diameter of the spool, okay, or of the shaft, sorry. And then we have to do a 45 right here. That's gonna be kind of tricky. So, but we can get it done. Probably what I'll do is I'll probably put this thing in a drill and then just use a flap disc to angle it, because a file's just gonna take way too long. So, oh, it's already got a little chamfer there. Y'all see that? I guess you just gotta open it up for more fluid flow. But okay, I'll try my best at showing y'all how I'm gonna go about this. I mean, it's gonna be easy on this. You just gonna, just more likely use a flap disc, or I may just use this fine Harbor Freight unit we have here. I think I can get to it without sanding my fingers down. Yeah, I think I can get to it without. I'll just take a little meat off my fingers. It'll be fine. Grows back. But I'm gonna get that sanded down and I'll show y'all my best demonstration with this drill. Maybe it'll work as good as I'm thinking. All right, so I'll take it back. I'm gonna use a file. I'm not using a grinder to try this right here because I just feel like it's a little on the aggressive side. We've got this chucked up in the portable lathe. Here's our file. We're about to give it a shot and see how it does. I think it's a pretty hard material, but we're gonna give it a shot. Yep, that's not working. That's not gonna work. We're gonna have to go to plan B, which was actually plan A. Working. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that valve is pretty modified. If I could go back, I probably would have just done this by hand, just like with a stone or something on a drill. That was a little on the aggressive side, I'd say. I did touch that right there just barely, but y'all just don't tell anybody. I hate messing up. You know, we'll just keep it between us. But here's the good thing. If this is an issue, it can be changed with the transmission in the car. You don't even got to drop the pan or anything. So we're gonna run with this. So after you modify the modulator valve, you're supposed to check the stroke with the valve. And we'll go over that later. We're going to have to rig up a power source and all that to activate the solenoid. And like I said, we'll do that towards the end of the video. Probably one of the close to last things we do before we put the valve body on. Next, we have to do the manual valve, which is your park, reverse, neutral drive, select valve. You know, it goes like that in the valve body as you move the linkage. This one right here, you have to, you see what it does. You got to leave a 1/4 inch of flat right here, I assume for sealing. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to do a little bit better than the last one, because this one you would have to drop the pan if you mess it up. So I'm going to take and actually use a dial indicator, a dial caliper, measure a 1/4 inch, you know, and make a mark, and then we'll just use a flap disc to kind of just scoop this metal out. I'll probably just chuck it up in the vise with some soft jaws, and we'll get her cut out. All right, so if you see, I've got a line drawn. I've got this thing chucked up in the vise. See my soft jaws. Them's Home Depot soft jaws. Anyways, I'm just gonna start with this flap disc. I think it's 40 grit. That's so cheap, it don't even tell you the grit. Got them from Walmart. I mean, Walmart.com at that. They're not even hard. But I'm just gonna kind of come in here and just start scooping at this very easily and gently, and we're not gonna mess up like we did on the last one. So let's get into it. A little bit more to go. I mean, a little bit more. That's close enough. By close enough, I mean that is actually 270 thousandths. We were shooting for 250. Gosh, these grinding discs, these cheap ones just make a mess. Look at all that stuff. That is so terrible. That's a good work environment. Okay, anyways, the manual valve's modified. Now we can move on to the next step. So now that we have cleansed our work environment of the sins that Chinese cheap flappy disc just caused us by pure contamination, we're moving on to the next step, and it's really we're pretty much done, guys, in all seriousness. All it says is, you know, install the check ball, and one thing it does note is you do want to use a screen type filter, and I would assume that's because once you put this trans brake in, it is going to flow more fluid to certain circuits, you know, and the factory filter, I assume, would cause cavitation to the pump. So you do want to, it's more of a strainer Does it say that? A screen type, that's what it says right there. Allison screen type is preferred, which is more of a strainer than a filter. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'll get, everything set up on a time lapse, and we'll get this thing chunked back together, and hopefully, soon we'll know if thing's gonna work out for us or not. And while we're here in front of it, just to give y'all a little, inside of what we're doing next, we're gonna be building the motor next, and getting the transmission made to the engine put in the car, and we'll be one step closer to being able to set the ride height, set the suspension, because like my OCD is just driving me crazy with this. Like, this thing's been sitting on the lift for like, I don't know, a month now, month and a half. I can't close my doors completely because the bumper hits the doors, because some idiot put the lift back too far in the shop. I don't know who would have done that, but they definitely didn't know how to read the measuring tape, I'll tell you that. But anyways, the sooner I can get this thing back on the ground and just, the suspension set, and another big thing is a drive shaft made. I mean, see, if I've got like 3 drive shafts over in the corner, probably got 2 over across the pond. There's probably 3 or 4 in the pond that we can dig out. Just kidding. But we can go down to the junkyard and we can get like, a tape measure, go to they have this mound of drive shafts at my local junkyard, and you just go in there and pick them out. They got a variety. I mean, you got aluminum, steel, aluminum, steel, but yeah, all kind of drive shafts. But kind of where we're at right now, and that's what we're going to be doing next. So like I said, we'll get set up, we'll get this thing through back together, and hopefully everything's good with it, guys. So now we're at the final step of this this valve body install. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but this is your governor. It goes in this port. You leave the governor completely out. You just put your new gasket, on your governor plate, and put that back on. This is, I can't remember which servo this is out of your it's the low or third servo, I'm not sure, but it comes out of your reverse servo. You just leave it out, and you'll just have the bigger piston that goes down with no extra springs or anything, the spring that's on it. Then this is for your front band. You leave all this out. And this is a real critical part that I had to really play with, and it tells you about this. When you're installing this trans brake, when you put your modulator valve in, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 ports right here. Brake on, lands 3 and 4 are connected. Brake off, lands 2 and 3 are connected. So as you can see, we've got everything installed. Lands 1, 2, and 3 are connected. You see that recess in your modulator valve? All right. So when we press this is the one we had to put the chamfer on earlier. This spool right here is what we chamfered earlier in the video. When I activate this brake by pressing this in, the solenoid in, then 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be connected, and the reason it will be connected is due to that chamfer we put on. So watch. See that chamfer? 3 and 4 are now connected. Let off, 2 and 3 are connected. What I had to do is whenever I put the regular O-ring in, the this chamfer, this chamfer was sticking out a little far. So the modulator valve was engaged too much. So what I had to do is I got an O-ring with a smaller cross section and kind of stretched it over the modulator valve and just used it as a spacer. And then, you know, it put us dead on the money right there. Now it's just as it should be. All right, so now it's time to wrap it up. As stated in the directions, you know, earlier we stoned all this, made this nice and flat. The reason why is because you do not use any gaskets. You have this aluminum separator plate. You put that on. Next, you'll get your valve body and check right here. This is where your check ball, they put a assembly lube right there to hold that check ball in for you. And before we do that, we do have to put our modified manual valve in. We done that earlier. I'll try to set it right here so y'all can see me. Now you do want to put, you know, once you start the transmission, this stuff will be instantly lubricated, but you do want something on there on install so you don't have a valve freeze up or anything. You want to grease your modulator valve up also. Make sure this thing slides good in the bore, as it does. Now, I'm just going to flip this thing over. Oh, look at me, I put the valve in backwards. Make sure you catch this slot on your rooster comb. Everything lined up. I do typically start this one last just because it does kind of put everything in a bind. This is your detent for your rooster comb, your gear selector. And they do have a few different lengths of these. Huh, just kidding, take that back. All same length. Less chance to mess up. These torque to 15 foot-pounds. Your smaller bolts torque to 10. It does specify that in the directions. So we have an issue here. All right, everyone, so that's going to conclude our budget TH400 Turbo 400 build. Like I said, we got our ATD cast iron trans brake installed, our low car anchor dipstick, and our PTC 9.5 inch converter. If you made it this far, appreciate you watching. Don't forget to tune in the next video. We're going to be building the engine for this thing, and we'll get this transmission slapping on the engine and get it through in the car. Once again, thank y'all for watching. Take it easy.